Okay, how do you define the secret of light as it pertains to photography and dumb it down so simply that anybody could understand it? I'm going to try to do that really quickly. I think I'm going to succeed at it. Coherent versus incoherent light. Everybody else has played with a red laser, right? You kind of notice how when you take a red laser and you shine it on a white wall, you see a red dot. And you take a red laser and you shine it on a blue wall, you see a red dot. You take a red laser, you shine it on anything, and it's still a red dot. Okay, well that's coherent light. Okay, well that's a nice description. Getting into explaining coherency would take a video a lot longer than I could do here. But let's try to apply this to photography. You see this neat little color checker passport? Right now I have incoherent light hitting this card, and you see all the little pretty colors on the color checker passport? Isn't that special? Okay. What does this have to do with photography? It has everything to do with photography. Remember how I've said before, if you watch any of my videos on field theory, that everything in the universe is capacitance, resistance, permeability, and permittivity? Yeah, okay. What the hell does that mean? What about incoherent light lets you see different colors here? That means that, well, these are different colored little spots here. And, you know, when I look at a blue spot, I see blue, and, you know, it's just different colored paint. That's actually not paint, but let's just say it was paint, right? No. That means that that particular spot has a resistance and a capacitance that only reflects that color of light under a certain Kelvin spectrum, right? Say it's 5,000 Kelvin, okay? Obviously, the frequency of the light that falls on it also is going to determine the frequency of light that is reflected. That means each one of these little color patches, and this is applicable to all varieties of photography, even black and white photography, as far as saturation and tonal value. Okay, incoherent light, sunlight, strobe light, LED illumination, regardless basically of its Kelvin range, which of course is important for color balancing, of course, but just talking about light in general, that means each one of those colors has a different profile of capacity. It takes on, the light that falls on it takes on the attributes of a certain part of that incident illumination. Coherency. Coherency does not take on the attribute. I shine a red light on any one of these color patches. What's going to happen is that what's going to be reflected back to your eye is a red dot, or a blue laser, a blue dot, green laser, green dot. Doesn't matter what color it is, you're going to see red laser. And regardless of incoherent light. Incoherent, and this is important in the design of lens construction, because what defines a hologram? Most people have no idea how the hell a hologram is created. You take a single beam of coherent light, okay, you split it, okay, so now it's two. One of them is hitting the object, let's say the real shell, not this shell, and it's being thrown back onto a piece of photographic film or a digital sensor. You're able to make holograms both ways now. The other half of the laser beam goes directly to the photographic film. Then the interference between the scattering off of the real shell and the reference beam creates an interference that produces three-dimensional holograms on a two-dimensional plane. How is this applicable to photography? Why is this applicable to photography? To keep that type of coherence in effect, this glass is evil. Okay? Glass is evil. Glass is a capacitor. Okay? When you pass light through a capacitor, light being electrical in nature, longitudinal dielectric, transverse electrical magnetic, it gets absorbed. It's just like shooting a bullet through a piece of wood and then putting another piece of wood. You know, glass is evil. Too much glass screws the light up. It jacks with the phase of the light and the nature of the coherency of where it falls. That's right. Irrespective of focus. Obviously, we want our images to be in focus. Incoherent light. You know, imagine if the sun were coherent light radiation. We wouldn't be able to see or do anything. We'd all be blind. You know, I mean, nothing would have any color. There would be no color. There'd be one color only, and nothing would have any depth. Just imagine that. If the light from the sun were coherent, we wouldn't be able to see anything. Nothing would have any color at all. Let's say the sun were an orange an orange phased coherent laser. Everything would look orange, and we could not see depth on anything, even if we had like 10 eyeballs, and we have 2 eyeballs for depth perception, but even if we had 10 eyeballs like a bug or something, we still couldn't perceive depth because everything would be in phase. The only reason we're able to actually see colors on this like color checker passport is because each one of these little patches has a different profile of capacitance and resistance. You kind of know how something black gets heated up easily out in the sun? You know? It's because it is absorbing most of the light, and light is energy, and if you absorb most of it and you don't throw it out, then it's building up energy. And it's like why a black car is hot as hell in the summer sun, right? Yeah. Kind of like snow is white. It's white because it reflects basically most all of that light back into outer space. It's actually able to change the temperature profile of the Earth is by adding more white to it. Instead of snow, we could actually change it. Not that I give a crap about environmentalism BS. I kind of do, but not really. If we're able to, instead of have larger ice caps in the North and South Pole, we're able to spread out super titanic blankets, which of course would never happen. And we'd able to change the luminal profile of the Earth by reflecting a lot of that energy back out away from the Earth. Then the Earth would actually cool. Doesn't have to be ice or snow. It could just be like a 100 million miles square blanket, which of course we could never make. Every color is a color because it has a profile of capacity. People don't know what the hell a color means. It's like, aren't you into photography? Like, a person that is really into photography would be interested in knowing this stuff. Do you know why, like, a zoom lens that has a lot of elements in it, I mean a lot of elements in it, has poor color saturation in blues? Like if you take a zoom lens with like 20 plus elements in it, you'll notice that the blues are washed out. Because blue is high energy light. Should go towards blue in the spectrum. That means that the glass is actually sticking the brakes on that blue light as it passes from one element to another element to another to another to another to another to another. You ever heard of the term red hot? Kind of like lava or something gets red hot. Red is the lowest energy of the visible light spectrum. The reason why, now there is of course white hot. That means it has reached supercapacitance. Something has reached supercapacitance. It's red hot, now it's white hot. White hot means it is actually emitting all color of the spectrum. It has fully reached capacity. When something is red hot, it is not emitting higher energy light because it's only emitting lower energy light. To have that profile of being red hot, it is only emitting the least energetic spectrum of visible light, which is infrared and red. Red is low energy, blue is like a red light is like a tortoise, and blue light is like a jackrabbit. I got to keep it really, really simple, of course. A lot more energetic, a lot more power. What do you think incoherent light is? What do you think actually defines the profile of a good lens, and what do you think light is? Some people might find this stuff boring. We weren't even taught this stuff in school or college. It's like, what makes something a color? Oh, that's interesting. Well, I don't know. When you paint something blue, it's blue. You know, that's what makes it. No. That's not. That's a description. That's not an explanation. What makes something blue or yellow or green or purple or chartreuse or, a funkadelic orange is that what makes it that color is that it has a profile of capacitance and because the only reason you're seeing the same light of the same frequency, which is white light, which contains a broad spectrum of frequencies from near red to near blue near red to far blue, is falling on this, but these different color patches have different capacitances, resistances, so they are absorbing a certain spectrum of whatever Kelvin light is falling on it, and it is coming back to your eye, coming back to the camera. That is what a color is. A color is nothing other then telling you what level of capacitance or resistance it has to the frequency of light that is falling upon it. Is that simple enough? If it needs to be more simple than that, then it might be time to go back to college. Well, not really, because you never learn anything in college. Go ahead, go to the library. College won't teach you anything, nor will, you are not taught how to think or to learn in school. You're only taught how to pass tests. And this is why people are not very intelligent anymore. It's because learning how to pass tests is not educating somebody. Educating someone and making them thinkers is actually teaching them how to think. But people are not taught how to think anymore. They're taught how to pass tests. And that is actually a huge part of what is wrong with the modern world, is that people are not thinkers anymore. Because we don't have classical educations. People aren't taught stuff like Plato and Pythagoras and Aristotle. No. Anyway, some people might find that interesting. Others be like, I hate this video. It sucks. Whatever.